Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Suzanne O'Brien. Thank you so much for joining me. I am thrilled to have this webinar tonight and to be able to share with you the information that I have learned, the things that I have seen that have literally changed my whole life. And I want to share them with you. And I think there could not be a better time to have this webinar and to be able to offer this platform, because we are obviously going through many, many changes in this world. And this is really going to help you to navigate, not only navigate through them, but to thrive through them, and maybe to give you those insights that can help you really connect with your purpose, with your gifts, with your soul part of yourself. So welcome. My name is Suzanne O'Brien, and this is the Doulagivers Universal Life Mastery Masterclass. Thank you again for being here. I start out by saying the minute that you stop trying to get there, you will arrive. So we are going to be covering all things about energy and the holistic beings that we are. We're 4 bodies of energy, each one of us, and understanding that concept from a foundational standpoint changes everything on how you live. Because you've probably heard of people talk about being in balance, or you're not in balance. Well, they are correct in what they're saying about balance, but we need to have further education, meaning what does that mean? So working with people as a nurse, I'm a registered nurse by trade, there are 4 parts of us: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And it's so fascinating and beautiful, life affirming, when this all shows up at the end of life, where you see people's physical bodies, their ego, their programmed part of them, their personality part dissolve and literally start dissolving and diminishing in front of you, and their spiritual essence starting to grow and becoming their true self. And it's life-changing to be a part of that and to see that. And so I'm going to share with you a lot of those experiences tonight. So when I say the minute that you stop trying to get there, you will arrive, because we're all seeking, right? We all want to be happy. We're all trying to figure it out and do the best we can on this journey, but it's not a destination. It's not outside of us. It's a vibrational frequency inside that we have to reach. And when you slow down, you actually speed up. So it's very fascinating because it's counterintuitive. And when we talk about the 4 bodies of energy tonight, when we talk about the mental mind, the ego mind, the program mind is always going to make you outside of the moment and be not good enough and not doing enough and not fast enough, and all of those wonderful things that the ego tries to do. The go, go, go. And of course, we always come up short with that, right? And we kind of burn ourselves out and we're just spinning wheels. The minute that you understand that it's a slowing down, that it's a reaching a frequency, unlocking your wisdom, that when you can reach that frequency, you actually get to a level where you're in the high frequency vibrational state. And when you want to get things done, it happens much quicker, much easier, and much more, again, in alignment. So I love saying the minute you stop trying to get there, you will arrive. So let's take a deep breath into that, because I think we're under so much stress in this world that let's really just get slow right now and get into this moment, being in gratitude, being in presence. So maybe take a deep breath, breathe through your nose like you're breathing a beautiful flower. You can hold for a minute if you're called to, and then just let it out. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And just let go of your day and just be grateful, be present. Think of something that you're grateful for. Right now, the sun is starting to set. It's so gorgeous. I always love that. I love being here with you. I love being able to connect with people in this space, in this beautiful space. So we're just going to really own this moment. Now, the #1 regret of dying patients is that they did not live the life they knew they were meant to live. And I want to share this with you because this comes up so much, not just with people at the end of life, but very much so, but with people in life, that they just haven't found that purpose, their calling, what we would say, or they're living somebody else's, what somebody else wants them to be, what society says, what their family wanted them to be, what they think, was the way to do something, but you're missing that connection, that real locked into something so much greater, in your alignment. And so when people are at the end of life, when I've worked with them at the end of life, when this comes up, it's not, and to me, so death is the #1 fear in this world right now. And I have to be very honest with you. I've worked with over 1,000 people at the end of life, and I am so honored and privileged to be in this space of doing this work. And it is a calling. And I don't believe that it's necessarily the fear of death. I think it's the fear that when we're denying death as a part of our journey, and when it does show up, which we know inevitably it will, it's the regret that they did not live the life they knew they were meant to live. I think that is the fear that many of us are facing, is that we're not getting to it. We're not living authentically in our truth, in that space that we know is what this whole point is. So I'm going to give you all these wonderful ideas tonight and tools to help you to get there for yourself. So if I may, I just want to share a little bit about my background. My name is Suzanne O'Brien, and I am a registered nurse. I have worked most of my nursing career in hospice care, which is end-of-life care, and or oncology care, which is cancer care. I have a degree in transpersonal psychology, spiritual teacher and healer, which all of you are intuitive and all of you are healers, by the way. Founding a member of the NHPCO's End-of-Life Doula Council, and a former vice president of NEDA, the National End-of-Life Doula Alliance. I am also the founder and creator of the International Doulagivers Institute, and I am a founder of Doulagivers Center for Conscious Awakening. So this is, again, the platform, and I'll tell you my story a little bit about following this calling, intuition, and how that is your greatest tool and asset to be able to trust in, and how it took me on this magnificent, incredible, beautiful journey that we're on. So I always have to be moved by, when you say inspiration, do you know what inspiration means? It means in spirit. When your spiritual soul, higher frequency, the wisdom part of us, gives us guidance, and we go with that guidance, that is the true definition of inspiration. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and how I followed that, unknowing what I was really doing, and how it led me on this beautiful path. So when we talk about 2 guidance systems, we talked tonight about the 4 bodies of energy. The 2 guidance systems you have are your mind, your mental body, which is going to be the programmed based on all of the input. Think of it as your own little computer. And your computer is going to only have the data that you put into it. It could have a lot of data, right? So the answers that you're going to get when you put a question to your mental mind are going to be based on what the input has been. And that is why, and that is the ego, and that is the program mind, that is the mental body of energy, and that's that directional. And that is why right now our world is operating on the ego mind, the low vibration, and they don't understand that there's another directional. And that's where you see the chaos that is ensued all over, because the ego will have you in a fear place. The ego will have you separate. The ego will have you thinking somebody else is going to get it before you get it. All of that low vibrational influence is all programmed. Now you have another guidance system, and that is your heart guidance. That is your soul guidance. That is your all wisdom. And I know that you all here tonight have moments that your soul has guided you and has, said to do something or guided you to do something, and you felt so connected at that moment. And you're like, wow, that was just, bigger than myself. It was something grander. And that's the heart guidance. But we actually really talk ourselves out of heart directional many times. The ego will say, well, you can't do that. You can't be a doula. You don't have any experience, or you can't, whatever it will say, because it does all of that. So I'm going to teach you techniques tonight to balance and integrate that. But it's extremely important that you walk away tonight with knowing that you have 2 guidance systems. And when you feel anxious, or it feels not comfortable, or anything other than lighting you up and bringing you that, peace and that joy and that happy feeling, that it's your ego directing you. And you really have to get tuned in to those two different directionals and understand which one is directing you when, so you can not go on obviously the directional of the ego. So when I followed I was a young nurse, well, not so young, but I was a nurse, and I had been working in the hospital system. I did med surg, and then I did operating nurse work, and I kept getting called to hospice. I kept feeling this, go to hospice, right? That heart-centered guidance. And it didn't make any sense because I had no end-of-life experience. I had one patient who died on my shift. I didn't know her. It was a couple of hours. It was not, a big relationship by any means, but I was always comfortable for some reason in that space. And I kept getting this call, go to hospice, go to hospice. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to trust this. I'm going to just see what happens if I actually follow that, because it doesn't make any sense. And even if I take this further, if you put it on paper and you put down the different jobs, the different hours, the different pay, I would have less money. I'd be working more hours with less benefits with a job I had absolutely no background and experience for. Why would I ever do that? It would make no sense on paper. But my heart was saying, go. And I said, I'm just going to trust this. And the very first day on hospice that I was following a nurse to her patients, I knew I was in the exact place I was supposed to be in my life. It was like a piece of puzzle that fit, and it was so connected. And I felt so alive and so at peace in this, choice, that I said, from that moment on, I said, I am never going to make a decision again other than it being heart aligned, this feeling, this knowing. And it has led me on a journey that I could never have imagined, working with people in different countries and being able to, do this Doulagivers trainings, and so much love, just so much global love. So this is, again, so important, because that space of not being able to see where I was going, why I was being called, takes that trust and faith. And when you trust in that guidance system without being able to see it, concretely, that's where all the magic happens for us. And we're not taught any of this. We're actually taught that, to be safe, to play small. So this is what my journey was like when I followed my guidance system. And then what I've seen and learned from those at the end of life has just confirmed and reaffirmed all of this, that everything is energy, that we are those 4 bodies of energy, that we have a heart guidance system that is our true self. The other is just a programmed, this is all part of the whole experience of life, is to find our way back to that heart-centered home, no matter what our circumstances, what we've been through, what we've seen, what society has told us, is to find that truth within you and to own that, and just let your heart just open up and connect with something so much greater than you and I, that we're all connected to. So those at the end of life, when I told you that their physical bodies would start really diminishing and dissolving in front of their ego, would dissolve right in front of my eyes, because their looks and their titles, and it didn't matter how much money you had. And many times my patients would say that was the best thing that ever happened to me, getting sick because they finally found their true self. But there's also something incredibly miraculous that happens as they're heading toward their end of life. If you look at it from a frequency standpoint, there is a certain point in their journey that their physical body is declining, that their spiritual body is growing, their essence is growing, and that they get to a place where they can access both. So there's a place where everything opens up and makes sense, like everything in their life, and they say, I understand now. I know why all of those things happened, or I know why this happened, or I know, and it's all about love, and it's all about forgiveness, and I forgive everyone. And many of these times, this all happens while they're still able, again, to be in this earth plane and share that. So it's pretty amazing, a lot of the things. And what struck me as a hospice nurse is so many of the patients at end of life were saying the same exact things about this, what I call universal laws, that they, like these aha moments, this wisdom that was coming in, this spiritual wisdom that from different cultures and different religions. So sometimes there were like people who had been strict in their religious practice all of their life. And when it became more towards that end of life, it was more of a general spiritual oneness. And also all the information, again, is very similar that they speak of. So this is truth. And if we brought back, and then after researching it, it's been thousands and thousands of years, these universal laws have been known, but we've completely lost them in modern day, and we need to bring them back. So what I've seen and what I've learned from those at the end of life has been incredible. You know, being with people who will share that their loved ones are in the room with them that have died previously. Just different experiences as far as the information that people will get and the different energy and time. As you and I know it, time ceases to be the same when you're working with somebody at end of life. The frequency, the energy changes, and it's such a sacred experience. So these teachers have been around for thousands of years. They're called universal laws, and you know, just to share a few of them right at this moment, it is based on one consciousness that we're all connected to. It's based on compassion. It's based on kindness. It's based on, again, that everything's connected, including planet, animals, elements, you and I. So we're all part of this one frequency that is unconditional and loving. Incredible. Okay. Now, again, I shared with you a bit about my journey, which has been just incredible. And I would never, if you had told me when I started working for hospice and had, you know, found my calling, that, you know, I'd be on doing the work that I'm doing and have been able to, again, go around the world and work with different wonderful communities, because I was so happy where I was and I thought, you know, this was it. But what I was finding is working in the end of life space is that we have such a gap, we have such a problem, we have such a high amount of suffering in that space. And so no matter how hard I tried, and how the people that work in that space are incredible, we have a huge cultural issue with the fear of death. But I'll share with you right now that death has just been removed from our world and our society for the most part in the last 100 years. And the great news is that death is not a medical experience, it's a human one. So bringing back the beauty, the sacredness, the truth of this and sharing that and how we're all connected really is one of the greatest teachings that we could possibly bring out and bring forth at this moment in our world. So on the left is a beautiful man and a beautiful trip that I volunteered in Zimbabwe to do hospice work. And that was a little clinic that had the tiniest little room, and those bins had medicines, and people would walk for hours to see a nurse for just a few minutes and to get medicine. And it was just just an incredible life. That was 2012, life-changing trip. And also I learned that trip, that the power of our presence is the best medicine that we could possibly give at end of life. And that end of life is not a medical experience that needs lots of medical things. What it is a human experience, and it's a holistic experience. And they were training people, they were taking people from the hut next door and training them to sit with the family, with the patient who was dying, and just knowing how the body starts to shut down and knowing what interventions, non-medical, that you could use for comfort was so instrumental and so powerful. So really bringing that concept back, and then also adding everything that I've learned as a hospice nurse to be able to create programs for that. And then on the right is a training in 2019. I went to Thailand for a month and did 14 different trainings all around the country. And again, absolutely life-changing. And this was a beautiful training at a hospital. And you can see on the left there are Buddhist monks who worked in end-of-life care, and they were there in the training. And what I absolutely loved is, again, no matter who you are, no matter what title you have or who you are. We're all connected in this beautiful thing, humanity, and it is all about heart, and it is all about presence, and it is all about compassion. And what I loved was that these monks would come up and say how aligned the Doulagivers training was with their teachings and what they practice, which I think was just a wonderful compliment. So it has been an incredible journey, and all I do is, again, really try and offer myself to show up in whatever capacity I can to be of the highest service, not only to obviously myself, but to the universe and what's being asked. What's being asked of us for our contribution to this life. And there's another training in Thailand, and they're making the symbol of little hearts. So they do this sweet little thing with their fingers, and it makes a tiny little heart. And I cannot wait to go back to Thailand one day. And another thing that I just want to really reinforce here is that please don't wait. Don't wait to do things. If you feel called, don't let your ego step in and say, well, it's not the right time because this and that and the other thing, because guess what? It's never the right time. And I am so glad when I look back in 2019, because it was just a year, exactly a year later that, COVID hit our world and shut us all down. And I again am so grateful to have not only had that opportunity, but to have the courage and the trust to go, because, I was using a lot of trust, and I was, just going over, and it was absolutely incredible. So please follow. If your heart is singing yes to something, follow through with that. The great inventors and creators also know this. So this is not something new that I'm going to be teaching you about energy in the two directionals. I mean, I'm going to expand on it. I'm going to give you techniques. I'm going to share my stories. But if you look back, and of course, now I've done a ton of research on this. Again, Albert Einstein, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. So again, when you study, and I love science, when you study physics, when you study energy and molecules and all of that, when you break it down, it's vibrating at a rate of speed. And when you vibrate at a certain rate of speed, you will then be in alignment with equal things that are of that frequency, that vibration. And this is where we're going to get into this tonight. This is so important, the 4 bodies of energy that you are, because what you eat and what you think and what you feel is all going to be how you vibrate. And that is absolutely everything. And so here's one of the universal laws is whatever you vibrate at, whether you want it or not. So whatever you think, if you think, oh, I can't be a doula, then the universe hears you can't be a doula. You won't be a doula. Do you see what I'm saying? We have to be very mindful of the ego and all that is coming through in the different ways, but we'll expand a little bit more on that momentarily. The second one is, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla, you've probably heard that name. And then energy is the essence of life. Every day you decide how you're going to use it by knowing what you want and what it takes to reach that goal, and by maintaining focus. Oprah Winfrey. And I'll take that a step further, your intention. What is your intention of the day? And I keep it very simple with what we do here. I get out of my own way. So let's go back to me taking the hospice job or going to get hospice work. Didn't make any sense, right? My ego, everything was like, no, you can't, no. And I said, I'm going to get out of my own, I'm going to take that ego voice and I'm going to put it over to the side. I'm going to get out of my own way and I'm going to just trust this. And it's opened up things that you can't even have imagined, and they continue to flow. And it's so beautiful. And there's just so much love and joy and connection in what I do. So all of these, and we can go on and on about the great people in the world who've done amazing things talking about this energy and intention and how it is everything. So there is a level of your mind that houses your superpower. So it's a super mind, it's beyond the mind. You really have a few different parts to your mind. Now, let's get into brain waves. And I'm not going to get too technical, but I do think this is extremely important. You've probably heard that you have different brain waves in a 24-hour period, that you've had, you have the delta when you're sleeping, and you have the theta, and you have the beta, and there's different brain waves in a 24-hour cycle that you go through. Now, your mind is able to expand in its consciousness based on the vibrational level of those brain waves. And so when we're able to quiet the ego mind, and we're able to sit in stillness or in some meditation, and we're able to expand that part of our mind, you tap into unlimited creativity and boundless amounts of inspiration. So this is what I'm going to teach you, is how to access that, to align with that, and also to just vibrate and flow at a greater place of joy. So when you start to understand this, and then you start to do techniques and little exercises to raise those vibrations in your being, all of a sudden, guess what happens? You're vibrating at a higher rate, better things are coming in of that higher rate, and it starts to just be the predominant way, and it's a beautiful place to be. So the goal is a vibrational frequency, not a destination. So it's not a, when I get that job, I'll be happy. When I have a certain amount of money, I'll be happy. When I have material things, I'll be happy. There's nothing wrong with those, but that's not the goal. We've been taught all the wrong things as the goals. It is a vibrational frequency. No matter what your circumstances are, no matter what is going on in your life, you can learn to access this right now, today. It is found in the all-knowing, all-connected heart mind, which is, again, the only truth that there is love and unconditional love. And when you learn to open that heart chakra and to let go of things that are weighing you down and don't serve you, and when you control the ego mind and you're able to calm it down and integrate it, you change your entire life. In this webinar tonight, you will learn how to understand the two main guidance systems within us all, how to use the RAI method to integrate your subconscious mind and strengthen your heart guidance system to be your dominant guide and to find your true purpose in this life. And 3, how to allow the flow of alignment and co-create with the universe. That's what we're here to do. We're here to make the world a better place because we are in it, and it's our job in this lifetime to match that frequency, to find the way to match that vibration. So what it is, the Universal Life Mastery Masterclass is the teaching of what is the goal of life and how to achieve, master it. And why is it important? We're all seeking. I don't care who you are and what you're doing. I often, will think about different, and again, a huge part of what the universal laws are and what my end-of-life patients tell me is that there's no judgment. And I love that the God, universe, source does not judge us, and there's no judgment. So we don't have the right to judge one another. Now, that doesn't excuse people. Everyone is held accountable for their actions, but everyone's on their own journey. And if we came from a place of not judging one another, what a change that would be in this world. So we're all seeking. And I think of, again, some of the people that are doing really unconscious things, let's just say that. And, but they're seeking happiness. They're going about it wrong. They're going about it in the wrong way, but, they're seeking, they're trying to fill that hole. Well, we're talking about the truth of how to fill that hole and the filling it with love and opening up that heart. So we're all seeking. What is the point of this journey called life for? I think I've been trying to find this out since I was a little girl. This is always something. I always knew there was something much greater. It was such a comfort knowing that there was a much bigger picture here. So how do we get there? And we don't want to die, of course, with not being able to find our gift and our purpose. So what you can do, you can learn how to look at the world with a new perspective, new lens, new awareness. Think of those end-of-life patients Their physical body is declining, their spiritual body, they're getting their spiritual eyes, they're getting their spiritual wisdom, and all of a sudden they look at the world and their life completely different because they're looking through a different lens. You and I can do that now. We can raise our vibration, we can change the frequency around us, and we can look at the world in a much, much different way. Understand the universal truths and practice and strengthen your connection to your heart guidance. So here's where the work comes in, okay? Because nothing's free, right? So we all have, and it's all good because once you understand it and if you want to do it, it doesn't take a lot, but it does take work. It takes your choosing. It takes your practice. It's a practice. It's a daily practice of very simple things, really just awareness and choosing. And putting out your intention and sending love. So again, those are the three things that you can do, and they're just incredible, and they will absolutely change everything because you'll be starting to look through a higher frequency lens at absolutely everything in your life, relationships, your job, your connection to all things. It's really beautiful, really powerful. The beginning, the middle, and the end is love. So this is what patients say, and this is the truth. And it's unconditional love, by the way. So in this beautiful journey that we're in, you know, we've grown up and we're little ones, and we take all our input and direction from our parents usually, and obviously the experiences we have in school. But it's just so interesting when I looked back on things and how much is conditional out there, right? You know, I'll love you if you get good grades. I'll love you if you behave a certain way. I love you if you become a doctor. I love you if, and even spouses, we do that with each other. If you look a certain, you like all that. So true love is unconditional love. So there you go. There's all these beautiful rocks that you are loved because you are loved, because you are here on this planet, the universe. You are part of the universe, which is unconditional love, and the universe loves you and always wants the best for you. So here we have, again, the love of connecting with other human beings. And there is a profound connection when you do something for someone else or show up for someone else when there's no attachment. So meaning you do an act of kindness, you see somebody, you truly see them. You know, right now we're living so quickly that people are passing each other. And I think this is such an interesting example, is that, you know, we just kind of go through our day unconsciously, right? And you see somebody and you say, yeah, hi, how are you? And somebody says, oh, well, you know, last night and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't really want to know how you were, you know, but we really have to show up for each other, and we really have to see each other. So working with our elders, which with no judgment, with observation, you know, we have really forgotten this population, very vulnerable population, by the way, and a population that is staggering in numbers. And what have we done? How do we treat them? Really with no value. So there's so much wealth there. So again, what I have seen and been able to witness at the bedside, and just the love of meeting these beautiful people that you again fall in love with all the time. So just a little side note here, the backstory. We used to call our friendship Thelma and Louise. Yeah, there's a lot to it. This woman is just incredible, and great laugh and great spirit, and we would go on adventures together. So yeah, I think that we're overlooking all of the value, not to mention just the moral and ethical responsibility we have to our elder population. So what my patients say, that they're going home. So this is something that they will say many times, I'm going home. As they get closer to that end of life, I'm going home. A lot of times family will say, Mom, you are home, you are home. They're not talking about the physical home. So this is something that's talked about in all different parts of the world, this home. What home are they talking about? This consciousness, this spiritual home. There's no space and time like we know it. It changes when you're in that very late phase of that end of life vibration. It's life-changing and it's a privilege and an honor, but it will change your life to be part and care for somebody at the end of life. And the fact that we don't see that, most people have not seen that or been part of that, is again contributing to part of the chaos, or a lot of the chaos is living unconsciously and taking away one of the greatest teachers that we have about life. People talk about finding themselves for the first time in their life, and now they're at the end of life. So we need to share this information because we need to find this now while we still have an opportunity to change this world, to make this world better for everyone and everything in it, but also that we can live in that joy, we can live in that flow. So when I was in Thailand, there was a temple that I worked in, and people would come with the end of life and very serious illness, and it was just outstanding, just that whole experience. But we sat around in a circle, and many of the people there would say, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life being at this temple. They were end of life, but they practiced a few things there. They practiced living on a plant-based diet, one. They practiced meditation. They practiced yoga, and they practiced forgiveness. And people found their soul self, their true self, their heart self for the first time, and were able to fully embrace that. And that's why they said that was the happiest they've ever been in their lives. So we want to do that now. We're all connected, guys. We're all connected. So if I knew that in my heart of hearts, when I walked on the street and saw you homeless with no food, would I walk by, or would I not be affected by that? And again, you're not here to do people's work for them, and you're not here to fix everything, but you are here to have presence and compassion, and you are here to show up where you're called to show up. And the universe will dictate that. You'll know how that goes. You'll know how to do it. But even just seeing somebody with that compassion is extremely healing. Every experience was a gift. So trauma, so difficult things. So what we're doing right now in this world, it's so challenging, right? To watch what's happening out there. When you are able to increase your frequency, you're living in this world, but you're able to look at it more of an observer, not reactive, not swept away in the collective chaos. You're able to, yes, this is what's happening. You can respond. What can you control? What can you not control? But you can, again, be in a place where you're not being swept away in it, because everyone is, that collective unconscious mind is just exploding all over, and you can't get anything done in the positive way when you're part of that. And there's no need to be part of it. But I want to share with you that every experience is a gift that we go through. Everything we've gone through is an opportunity for soul growth, and the most painful and challenging parts of our lives were the greatest opportunities for that shift, for that elevation. So it's very hard when we're going through it, and it takes a lot of time and it takes work. But when you get to a certain place, you can look back on those experiences and see what the value that they brought you to this place of your evolution. And, you know, I have so many patient stories, but this one in particular, she was a younger woman, and she said, I think I saw her maybe twice, and she said, I know why I got cancer and I'm dying. And you know, as a kind of a young hospice nurse, I was like, why? You know, what was that? She said, my anger towards my father, she goes, just really was so heavy on me for my whole life. I was so angry that it formed this illness. And she was right. And she was right, because unforgiveness is an actual medical diagnosis. Unforgiveness is an actual medical diagnosis. And they've done studies with cancer patients where they have practiced forgiveness and they've gone through it, and like a high majority of people, their cancer started to become smaller, if not some of them recovered. So it's a true medical diagnosis. It is the actual greatest tool to understand in this life's journey that forgiveness will shift everything. And it's not for the other person, it's for you. It's the energetic shifter. So whatever it is, anger, shame, guilt, all of it, forgiveness is the tool that you will use to transfer that energy to remove it, and then to have the higher energy be clear inside of you so that you can do, again, whatever you want moving forward. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is true. All right. So let's go on with what I know. So when I've seen people at the end of life give forgiveness, everything has changed energetically. Everything has changed in their experience. I've also seen people that will hang on and wait for people to leave the room, meaning they're in a sleeping coma and their eyes are closed and they haven't spoken in days. And the 5 minutes that somebody leaves the room to go get a cup of coffee or to go quickly take a shower, they have their end of life. And I have to, and this happens all of the time, and I have to ask you this: how did that person, with not being awake, not talking for days and or weeks, how did they know the 5 minutes that person left the room? I've also seen people and been part of experiences where people have hung on and waited for something to be resolved, or waited. I had one particular woman who waited for her 100th birthday. And I knew this as clear as day. I knew that, well, okay, she came on the hospice program and she was 99 years old, and she was very, very sweet, and she went into a deep sleep coma that night. And I would come every day, and she had one daughter who was taking care of her, who was 73 years old, and this woman was not having her end of life, which is, again, not scientifically, after a few days, no water, and where she was, she should have had her end of life. She wasn't. So I remember being at the hospice office, and I remember looking down at the face sheet, and I looked at the face sheet, and at the top right is the birth date, and it said in 4 days she was going to turn 100. And I said, oh, she's waiting to turn 100, then she's going to have her end of life. And this came in so clearly to me that I didn't even question it. And so there's a protocol that you're supposed to tell the hospice team, the on-call nurse, if you have somebody you think is going to die that night. And so I remember it was that day, and they were giving a report, and I said, I have a patient who's waiting to turn 100 tonight, and then she's going to die. And they turned their chairs around and looked at me, and they said, did she tell you that? And they caught me off guard, and I was a little embarrassed at that moment, because no, she didn't tell me that with words, but I felt it so clearly that I didn't even think twice about it. And yes, she did. She didn't die right at midnight. She waited till about 4 in the morning, and good for her. But that was 11 days without food, without any water, and they said that that's absolutely scientifically not possible. Well, I was there and I've seen it. And then I do want to share with you just about another woman who, in the oncology unit, she was young. She was in her mid-40s, and she had gallbladder cancer. And she was going through chemotherapy treatment that had brittled her bones, and she had fractured her hip. So she had come into the oncology unit, and she came in on a Friday. And I remember I was working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, long shifts. And at the end of the day on Saturday, she was breathing quite heavy. And it had turned out that she had blown a blood clot, which is not a good thing, by the way. And the next day, she was breathing very heavy. It was a Sunday. The doctor came in. We're on fragmented shifts on the weekends that people come at their own schedule in the hospital. I remember the doctor coming in and saying, what is happening? What's happened? And I went with the doctor to her room. And when we walked through the threshold of the hospital door, I remember this woman said to the doctor, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me. And I turned to look at the doctor's face, and tears were rolling down her cheeks. And this woman was telling the doctor that she was going to die before any of us knew that and called it. And that night, they said that at about 11 o'clock at night, this woman woke up from a nap and said to the nurse, get my sister, I'm transitioning. Like with all of the excitement of an 8-year-old child that you told was going to Disney World. And her sister was in the lounge, came into the room, and she said, I'm transitioning, again, with all the excitement. So I'm wanting to pose this question to you. What did this woman see in her dream? What did she see when she traveled in those two spaces? Because this is so important for us to hold on to when we are out here with a global pandemic and fearing death at every turn. We have got to get grounded in the truth, in the universal laws that have been around for thousands of years, and in the comfort of what we know to be the truth in this space of end of life. We need to share it. It can change everything. It does not diminish how hard it is to say goodbye to somebody, but it can be a life-changing knowledge for people. So what if there was no beginning and no end? How would you be living differently right now? How would you be living differently right now? And what would we be doing if we knew that the rules that we have been taught were all wrong and they're very different? I think that we'd all be living a much different day to day. The evolution of the soul, it's all about soul growth. So this experience, from what I'm told and what I do understand, is that this life journey is to have an evolution and growth of your soul. And growth is painful, right? This is really tough. This earth is the hard part with all the things that we go through, but it can be much easier when we know what's really going on here. It's the school of life, life lessons. That's what we talk about. It's to expand our consciousness, and it's to remember who we truly are despite any and all of it. So how to understand the two main guidance systems within us all, the conscious versus the unconscious. Remember, heart conscious, subconscious, ego is the other. The outfit of the day, I consider, this journey that I'm in, this temporary housing, the outfit of the day, the personality is part of that, but let's learn the truth of really who we are, and then you let your personality, of course, be an enhancement and a part of that. But we have to, again, understand that there's the two directionals and not let one rule the roost when you don't understand about the conscious mind and the heart direction. The subconscious mind is ruling our day and our lives 95% of the time. Think of that, and that's exactly what we're seeing in the world. The illusion of separateness in the mental ego mind. The illusion of separateness. I don't belong anywhere. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. All ego. Everyone's got it. It's just an illusion. We're going to teach you how to integrate with the ego. The Theory of Non-Locality. This is by Henry P. Stapp, Dean of Quantum Physics at the University of Berkeley. He says that the theory of non-locality just may be the most profound finding in all of science. That's a pretty big statement to make. Do you know what the theory of non-locality means? It means that we are not local entities. Suzanne, Mary, Johnny, that we all think we're separate and that's who we are. No, we're not local entities. We're all part of one. So the theory of non-locality just may be the most profound finding in all of science. I think that almost every person that works with those at the end of life knows this, but also I think that so many more people are awakening to this, that we are all connected in a consciousness. All right, the level of conscious awakening will be the dimension of reality that you experience. So putting on those rose-colored glasses, those lenses, those higher frequencies. I smile and I'm laughing because I just love Central Park, and I love the beautiful flow that my life is in and has been in, and I was able to again reach because I trusted that guided system. And I remember being in Central Park, going around the reservoir, one of my favorite places, and I saw that beautiful red cardinal. By the way, the top red is a male, the other is a female, and I was watching this cardinal, and I just again marvel and try and create spaces of true presence during my day, connecting to this moment, not missing it, be present. This red cardinal was around, and I was just like, wow, it was so beautiful. I'm watching this cardinal, and it was like really coming close. I have videotapes of it, and I was like, wow. And then it went up into a tree, and I decided I wanted to take a picture of it. So I took a picture, and I never saw the female until the picture was taken, but they look like they're kissing, and I think that's so lovely. There's a lot of other stories I could tell you about. Actually, one happened today. Tell you about, you could call them synchronicities, you can call them, but they're, the universe loves you and has your back and has your interest, and there's a whole non-physical reality that is really truth and is always trying to confirm that for you and show that to you. And so there's just many examples of that, but this was one of them, and I just absolutely love that because it just matches so many things that I adore, but I just love that they're kissing. Very sweet. The level of conscious awakening will be the dimension of reality that you experience. Once you connect in that higher frequency, you'll start seeing different things, you'll start feeling different things, you'll start noticing things for the first time that you haven't before. Good vibes, it's all about energetic vibration. Literally, your cells vibrate at a rate of speed. And we want them to, again, be of a high frequency. Why? Because then you're going to match other high frequencies. You're going to experience this life very differently. You're going to feel very differently. You're going to create opportunities for things to come into your life that connect in that high vibration. Love, service, whatever, all of it that you can be. So it's all about the vibration. So how do we get there? And also just wanting to show you that when you you're going to look at things very different. Things will actually be, I don't want to say technicolor, but the color of things actually changes the higher frequency you're vibrating. When you do a really cleanse, like with clean eating, and you get into that space of really your body vibrating high, the colors of things are even brighter. But here's just a good example of how you can be going through life with it blurry and with not feeling connected, and when you can go through life with awe of almost everything that you come into alignment with. So think in terms of when we started tonight with the goal is to be able for you to match the vibrational frequency of flow and alignment. And once you do, everything opens up for you. So it's really about matching an alignment, not going anywhere, not doing anything, no destination. It's about a frequency within yourself, raising, aligning, and then connecting to all things. Your thoughts create your reality, but. So I know you've heard your thoughts create your reality. Lots of people talk about that. And that's not, it's true. It's not true, but there's more to this. Your 4 bodies of energy. So your thoughts equal how you feel. And feeling creates an emotion in you that emits that emotion and then attracts that back. But lots of how you feel is based on the 4 bodies of energy. And this is where the work and the transformation comes in. So we do a whole program on gut health, and there's you're made up of, I mean, I'm not trying to bring us down tonight, but we're made up of a lot of bacteria. And you've heard of bad bugs, good bugs, bad bugs. And if you have an overgrowth of the bad bacteria in your gut, you're not going to be functioning in your physical body in a way with neurotransmitters and with utilizing fuel and getting vitamins and minerals, and that's going to affect how you think. It affects your brain, and that's going to affect how you feel, and that's going to affect the emotion that you put out. So everything is intricately connected, and that's important for us to know when we're going to raise those vibrations. So how do we build your lighthouse? And I call you a lighthouse because you are a lighthouse. So you want to build it, and you want to turn that up as bright as possible, and you want to strengthen your highest guidance system to find your true purpose. Because once you tap into that heart center, once you know how to access that, you ask that question: what is the next right move for me to make? Is this the right job for me? What is my heart really? What is my purpose? And you wait for that answer to come in, and it will never, ever steer you in the wrong direction. So building your lighthouse, we're 4 bodies of energy. You have that physical, beautiful body of yours. You have the mental body, which we have to quiet down and learn how to think of it like a undisciplined child, just running aimlessly, crazy, all different directions. We don't want to remove it, and we don't want to push it away. We want to integrate it. We have to acknowledge what it is. The emotional body, where we hold pain and trauma and unforgiveness, and the spiritual body, the spiritual part of us, which we want to strengthen and again become the predominant guidance system of that heart and that love. Learn how to raise your vibrations in all 4 bodies of energy, the practice of awareness. So I want to just say congratulations, because the first and the most powerful thing is to have the awareness of that. And you did this by coming tonight. The mental body, the subconscious mind, it runs the show 95% of the time. It is always going to keep you out of alignment. Why? Because it does not survive. It doesn't live if it's not out of alignment. Its job is to keep you off of alignment. Think about that. So it's going to be based on your personality, the programmed mind, learned behavior, society norms. Love is conditional. You're not good enough. You don't look good enough. You don't weigh a certain weight, whatever it is. Crazy. Your value and worth is conditional based on what's your title? What kind of job do you do? How much money do you have? Where do you live? What kind of car do you drive? No, none of that. I'm not saying those things are bad. Those things are fine, but they're not the truth. How many times have you heard, and again, working with people at the end of life, they had all those things so much, and they were so unhappy because they didn't have the love. They didn't find that space. The conditioned mind, the ego, the learned intellect, it's analytical. So if you put a question to your mental mind, you're going to get an answer, but the answer is going to be based on the input and the data that's available. And this is why we are seeing people out in the world saying, I'm right, and fighting to the death about it. Because people say, no, I'm right. And the other person says, no, I'm right. And you know what? They're both right, because what's coming up for their mental answer is just based on their input. So it's going to be subjective to that. They're not allowing themselves, and they don't know about the all-knowing wisdom mind. So of course you're seeing people just go at each other's throats. It's so sad out there. We've got to teach this, and we've got to practice it. We've got to be this energy as we go throughout our day. We've got to show up with no judgment. We've got to show up with that unconditional love, with presence, because that changes the vibration. It's analytical, it's fear-driven, and it bases success and worthiness on acquired material things, status, power, and money. The state of the world today, largely due to most people operating entirely on the subconscious ego level of direction. Your spiritual body, your consciousness. You will never find true joy and fulfillment in your life until you know how to access the true self, your higher self. And that's from Eckhart Tolle. Adore his teachings. The Power of Now, A New Earth. He's just a wonderful, beautiful soul and has great teachings, and really just teaches about presence, about this moment. Very powerful. But again, we're all looking for that fulfillment, and that comes from the state of vibration. There are only 2 dimensions, being and doing. Are you a human doing or a human being? And what I said tonight when we started, you need to slow down to speed up. Counterintuitive, right? The ego is going to say, absolutely not. You're going to fall so far behind. Get out there, make those phone calls, everything to keep you out of alignment. When you sit quiet, when you fill up your heart, when you tap into the heart-centered guidance. And it's not all day, every day, but we want to practice this, and we want to be able to have those moments of grace during the day and those moments of connection, and have it be that predominant, and know that we can access it at any time. So being is the consciousness in flow, doing is unconscious and out of flow. Doing is goal-oriented. Happiness is dependent on reaching that goal, focused on the outcome, not on the moment, and prevents you from living presently. And being is conscious, present, awake, seeing the true soul in every person, animal, and plant. How beautiful is that? When you know that you're vibrating at a higher frequency is when you start to see yourself in others. And you'll know this when you get there, and it's incredible, and it's just so affirming. And 3, how to allow the flow of alignment and co-create with the universe. So again, once you reach that frequency of that high vibration, everything starts opening up. And we have a doula who's just so wonderful. And she was just on our Life Cafe call a couple weeks ago and said, we just moved to a whole new state and I left my job and I don't know why I'm doing this, but I feel called to it. I was called to come here and I'm just like really going blindly, but I'm called to. And she said, and we were worried about like, how am I, if I don't have that pay, what am I going to, and she said, and money is just, everything is opening up and money is coming into her account and like everything is lining up and she feels so connected. And I said, and that's exactly it, is that you can't see it in front of you. It's not going to have that concrete, secure roadmap to show you step by step. You have to trust in the calling, in the feeling. If you think in terms that something is the right move for you and it feels right, it's comfortable, it lights you up, that is the right move for you. You don't have to have any other validation. You have to trust in that. When you trust in that, everything will start to open up for you because you've reached a whole new level of the co-creation with the universe that has no limits and that is all loving. So it's so powerful. 4 pillars of practice. This is very simple. When we talk about intention and we just talk about awareness, live each day as one little lifetime. Live with intention, live with gratitude. Gratitude is the highest frequency you can be in. Gratitude, love, being thankful for things. Living in that loving heart, letting that vibration encompass you. And you have to do that through doing your work and having forgiveness. We have to let things go and we have to let go of situations and people that are not serving us in that highest place. And then, of course, to be of service. You are here to make the world a better place because you're in it. You have a gift, you have a calling, you have a purpose. It's to open that heart and say, universe, source, God, whatever your belief system is, I am here to be of the highest service. Just show me how to do that. And it will reveal itself. Keep it very simple. And if you do that, you'll be astounded at how your life changes. Do not be attached to the outcome of things. So this is, again, you're going to have to reprogram that mind. And many of us here, we've been around for a while, right? So 40, 50, 60 years of programming, of a certain way of thinking. You have to start consciously being aware of when the subconscious mind is speaking and how to override it, how to quiet it, and how to be the predominant. And one of the things is not being attached to the outcome. It's not a destination or goal. It's, is this what I'm called to do? And then do it and let the results be whatever they're supposed to be. Don't be fixated on them, fixated on the calling, on the action of, and of course it should be aligned with the highest service. So do not be attached to the outcome, stay in intentional presence and wait for guidance. So I often will be still and listen. Be still and listen, open your heart, be grateful and listen. And this is a very easy technique, is to do this first thing in the morning. There's this liminal beautiful space before you fully are awake in those beta brain waves where you're coming out of that gorgeous nighttime essence. And when you stop before your day starts and open that heart and send out love and fill yourself up with love and just be present and wait for any guidance that comes in and just love, you will get information that will guide you into exactly the path that you're supposed to be on. So be still, be present, access your gifts, align with your purpose, and flow in alignment. Do a daily practice of consciousness. It is like a muscle. Practice to strengthen it. This could be as easy as stepping outside for 5 minutes a day, doing a few deep breaths, or just even practicing what I call the 5 senses. What do you see? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What are you tasting? What do you know? What do you know? What are you connecting to? And just marvel at this beautiful planet Earth and the nature and send it love and thank it for the oxygen it gives you. And thank you for the colors, the beautiful colors that you give us. And thank you for all that you do, because we have just been not treating our planet the way we need to. So we need to get back to consciousness on all different levels. The Universal Life Mastery Method. We have a membership. Before I go into this, I want to tell you that I'm going to be doing live Q&A. So please, if you have a question, put it in the question box and I will be answering it. We've had so many people ask about the membership, and we are not going to really be opening this fully again till next year. But because we've had so many requests, we said absolutely, if somebody would like to join during this webinar, we're absolutely going to allow you to do that for sure. I also do feel very called to do this because I feel like the more that we have to anchor us down, to ground us, to be together at these times, we want to offer that. So I'm going to share with you about the membership, and then I'm going to share with you about Life Cafe and being able to be part of that global cafe that we have weekly for anyone and everyone. So the Universal Life Mastery Method membership has 3 sections. It has the 12 steps to ego recovery. That's going to be its own independent training next year, but right now we're having that part of your membership. And then it has different trainings again on how to build your lighthouse. This is a practice. This is a commitment. So the consistency is extremely important. And again, don't get overwhelmed and think this is a really difficult thing to do. It's not. These things can take as little as 5 minutes a few times a day, and they will absolutely change your life. So we'll have those exercises, techniques, also tools and meditations to bring you into that instant alignment, because the more you can bring up the frequency during your day, the more that you will be vibrating at that high frequency, and then other things will come in on that level. So every month I do a few things. So every month in the membership, there is the first week has the 5-day energy detox. This is super fun. This is optional. This is something that you can do or not do. You can, depending on what you're doing at that time or where you are, but it's a really great way to really recalibrate and tune up those vibes, because look, life happens, right? So we all kind of, we'll go on vacation, or we'll be just, life is busy and we might not be doing our, water as much as we need to, or missing workouts or whatever it is. And there's no judgment here ever. But the first week is where we really remind, okay, let's, make sure that we're having that water and we're taking that time to meditate in the morning, and we're really getting high in our vibrations those first 5 days, because then our intention setting and our clarity is like tuned up. So every first week we do that. And then week 2, you get a training that is one of the 12 steps of dissolving the ego. And so that's already in the membership portal now. So that course is going to be its own course. Right now we're putting it in the membership because it is being created as we go, and I thought how nice to just have it in there for everyone. But that will be a course that's sold separately in 2022, but that's part of the membership now. And then week 3 is exercise a training on building your lighthouse, and that's going to be any one of the 4 body systems, a technique to help you to raise those vibrations. And an example would be the Ray technique. So the recognize, the acknowledge, and the integrate the ego when it comes up. It's a very simple technique that just is, again, based on awareness. When that ego is trying to sabotage, that you say, you recognize that the ego's talking, you acknowledge it, and you say, thank you, ego. Thank you for reminding me. You don't have to try and protect me. I've got this now. You're going to integrate, you're going to bring it along, because we're going to go extensively into that, what the ego is, why it shows up, and how you have to integrate, not again, block it or try and remove it. We want to integrate it. And another example would be the emotional body, and using forgiveness techniques and different things that you can use for forgiveness changes absolutely everything in the emotional body of energy. And that will lighten you all up. And then the 4th week, we do a monthly membership Zoom meeting and coaching, and that's on the 25th of every month. That is live at 1 p.m. And so there's just so much that goes into this. And we have an incredible founding member group already that just, again, heart-centered, high vibrational people who really want to be there for one another, but also you're ready. They're ready. You know, we're all on our own path and there's no judgment. But if you feel like you've come to a place where you are ready to really embrace that whole next level of what you know is possible, this could be exactly what you need for that. And so that's what that community is all about. And of course, we have that private Facebook community, you know, posting and sharing stories that's absolutely invaluable. There's nothing like a supportive, high vibrational community. We have right now, I'm going to do this for $39 a month. If you want to be part of the membership, and again, we're just going to open it for the people on this webinar and just for a few days. This will be available in 2022, but right now we know that people are asking and we know that people have needed this and need this because of so much that's going on. This is absolutely something that you can take part in if you would like. And I'm going to price it right now at $39 a month. And that's going to be available till Sunday night at 12 a.m. We also have the Heal Your Gut, Heal Your Life, the early registration bonus. And I want to put that in there. Why? Because it's so important for us to understand the foundation of your being is your physical body. You know, that's the vehicle that we've been given in this journey. And most of us do not have a very balanced or healthy physical body because there's too many things. You know, I don't like the negative talk of stacked against us, but there's too many challenges with it. Our food source doesn't have, you know, real depth to it, dense nutrients to it. The stress that we're under, really the inflammation that our body goes through for not just what we ingest, but what we put in from the news and from the collective if we're not grounding ourselves. Like, these are all assaults on that physical body. So we really want to talk about getting your beautiful gut health back into a good state, because that is the maker of your neurotransmitters, the way that you feel, if you have, you know, happy hormones, balanced hormones, and that again is how you're going to have your emotions and how you're going to feel, which is going to be very much in how you vibrate. So it all kind of is interrelated, and it starts with your gut health. So this is an incredible teaching that I want to add in there as well. And then early registration bonus, again, will be for those who want that particular Heal Your Gut, Heal Your Life, and that will be for those of you who want this by Saturday at the 15th at 6 p.m. And again, everything will be in your portal. There's never any risk with anything. You have 7-day money-back guarantee if you decide to join and you don't want to, and you can stop your membership at any time. This is for those who want and need this type of community, and they really are at the place where, yes, I know there's more, I just don't know how to put it all together. So you can sign up, you can get all your bonuses, and you can next month, if it's something you decide that you don't want to do, then you can cancel. So please, if you're not happy, I'm not happy. This is all about moving us forward together collectively. And the number one regret of the dying patient is that they did not want to, they did not live the life they knew they were meant to live. So this is, if there's anything you walk away with, just one thing tonight, please bring that into your heart and find out what you want and then live it, because we do not want to be in that space that so many are caught in. And think, you know, one of the helpful things to do is to think about, where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years from now? And what changes in your life do you need to make that happen? Because we have got to make choices and take action. If we don't, it won't happen. And that's the free will, and that's what the work that comes in. So it's a practice and it's consistency. And I love that, again, that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And we will do much more of those teachings in the membership. All right, so I'm going to give you an exercise now, teaching you about energy and awareness. Your first exercise is to ask yourself, you can do this now, you can do this later tonight, you can do it tomorrow morning as you're waking up. You can do it all 3 times if you want. I want you to ask yourself, just in a quiet space, was this true? All what I just heard tonight, is this truth? and see what your cells say. Do they feel harmony? Do you feel peace? Do you feel excitement? Do you feel joy? Or are you really uncomfortable? You know, because that's not where you're supposed to go then. When something is not truth or not in alignment or not the right decision for you, it will try and block it. It will tell you you're just feeling out of sorts in your body. So this is the first thing about how to trust your heart guidance system and access it, is I want you to just do it with this chorus. I want you to say, was what I heard tonight truth? Is that right? And see what comes up for you. And then you can join us in Life Cafe. And this is, again, such a beautiful community. And this is our ULM community as well. We do this every week. And again, we have the meetings on the 25th. There are just people from all over that are so bright in their energy and are putting out so much shine into the world. It's been such an honor. So just remember that you can either stay in that place of being limited to the ego mental mind in this existence, which of course we will always feel unfulfilled, sad, depressed, whatever it is, or you can open up to the level of that higher consciousness where you are going to match with the universal connectedness, and you can and will match your gifts, your purpose, and it's limitless what you can do with that. Be of service and make this whole world a better place for everyone in it. So if you would like to join us, the invitation link is going to be accessed only one of two ways. So if you would like to join, again, it's open till Sunday night, is that I believe I put it in the chat box so that you can, I hope that's sent to everybody, that you can access it there. Or the replay, I'm going to send you the replay of this webinar, and I will have it attached to the to that one email. So you'll just get one email with a replay with that link, that if you would like to join, you can use that link to do that. And again, if you have any questions, please, you can always email me at support@doulagivers.com, and I'll be so happy to answer your questions. All right, everyone, I am going to be answering questions. If you have any, please put them in the question box. Okay. All right, Maggie, you said you were having some sound issues. I hope that you were able to hear. It looked like everyone was able to hear and do fine with that. Yes, so next, right. So what happens if I can't make the training? So the trainings are recorded and put in your portal, and they're also put in your Facebook group. So what we do is I do the 2 trainings a month. So you have the 5-day detox, which we post in the Facebook group, and then you have the training for the 2nd week, the training for the 3rd week, and I let you know what day those are going to be released, and that you can go in your portal and then you can listen to those trainings, you can do the technique, and then we have the live Zoom coaching on the 25th of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, okay. What happens if I can't take the training right now? Can I take it in the next month or 2? So we're not going to have it open again for the membership until next year, 2022, because we're doing so much with our Doulagivers Institute. And so we just are going to open this up at certain times, but we will always be talking about this content and helping to support people with the state of the world right now, and helping them to learn different things or even have this conversation in any and all supportive ways that we can. But the membership will only be open for this window until Sunday night, and then again next year in 2022. All right. If you have any other questions, please add them in, everyone. And of course, you can message me on social or post something on social media, and I will be happy to answer it there as well. One of the things that we really love to do is give you a training on Kirlian photography and energy. And there's actually this thing called Kirlian photography that can actually take a photographic picture of auras and energy. And that is really exciting. And believe me, it's not just people. So it actually can show you food, cooked food, raw food, organic food, all the different energy that's around that. How fascinating is that? So your intention is extremely important. Another thing is they did a study with plants, and they did a study where someone was talking lovingly to a plant and, just sending it really good energy and talking to it, in a beautiful, loving way. And then somebody who was doing the opposite. And the difference in taking a photograph of what was around the aura of that plant is astounding. So I just want you to be mindful that your thoughts get sent out. So if you're thinking angry thoughts, those go out. If you're thinking, thoughts that you can't do this and you're not going to be able to do that, or you're worried about this, those thoughts go out. And that vibration, by universal law, is matched with an equal vibration. The universe answers what you're asking, whether you intentionally want it or not. And that's a game changer right there. All right, next question came in. What trainings are included in the membership? So Kathy asked that. So right now you have the 12 steps to ego recovery, which is a fantastic program. That's going to be its own program being sold next year. And you have building your lighthouse. So building your lighthouse is going to have 4 categories: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And there's going to be trainings that go under each of those categories. So for instance, we'll have different meditations for healing and forgiving. We'll have meditations for finding your purpose, for asking for clarity. We will have techniques, which I absolutely love, on the physical body, because it all starts with that. So little things that you can do in understanding inflammation, understanding alkalinity, and how we have got to limit the exposure to stressors out there, because it's just affecting your energy and your cells that in a way that is causing not only inflammation but disease and stress. So all these different trainings are going to be to build that lighthouse, to keep raising your vibrations. And of course, the 12 steps to ego recovery is a game changer as far as being able to quiet and integrate that ego and allow your heart center to be your main directional. So very exciting. And I remember we did a founding member launch a couple months ago, and the first week, the first training, people were using that training, and one of it was teaching us how not to react, but to respond to things. And they said, they had been dealing with a family issue for years and were, dealing with something that was presently going on, and said because of the training that we had done, was able to really be grounded and not react to this family dynamic, but was able to respond. And what happens when you do that is you literally change the attachment of what's happening. So when people are not getting a reaction from you, it diffuses a lot of that energy. And so you might find yourself having incredible relationships with people that you hadn't. And one other person used it at work, and they said, these trainings can be used anywhere. This is changing. They said they had an employee they were working with that was always a problem, always causing friction. And they came with that place of meeting them where they were with no judgment, not excusing their behavior, but not engaging, sending more of that love and having that compassion without even saying anything per se, and how it changed the other person's energy. And so it shows up all over. It's a really beautiful space. So if you are interested, you can sign up again now, or you can email with any questions, but it's something that there's absolutely no risk. So if you think you want to do it, use your technique, sit quietly and think, is this the right step for me? And if it is a yes inside you, if you feel peace, joy, excited, happiness, that is the next right move for you. And I hope you join us. So thank you, everyone. That was the last question. I really do appreciate your time that you spend with me, and I really hope you learned some wonderful things that will help you to not only navigate through this time and through life, but to thrive through it, because it's all available to you. You just have to choose. Yes, Karen, thank you so much too. Love that. Thank you, guys. All right, if you have any questions, email me, and I hope to see you in class. Have a great day, everybody.